One of the NFL season, Hendrickson told our very own Laura Rutledge he and the Bengals are close on an annual salary and length of terms. However, it's the team's unwillingness to give him guaranteed money. We know that's what matters in football. That's the hang-up. So yesterday, Bengals wasting Joe Burrow's star talent. Let's flash back.
Are we concerned that they are wasting this stage of Joe Burrow's career?
Absolutely. I mean, if you watch that game last night and you think about, especially early on last season, we've watched people run for more miles against the Cincinnati Bengals than David Goggins. If you're Joe Burrow, the reason that you're out here in the preseason is because you know you have to score 40. The reason that you're trying to do different things while you're trying to get reps with second team wide receivers is because you know you're going to need them at some point in the season in order to make plays to help a defense that's going to be absolutely putrid. And when you watch this in the preseason, you have to be sick to your stomach because you know there's going to be some games where you sit in the post-game press conference that you scored 35, 38, maybe 41, and you still catch an L.
Do you agree with RC?
I understand what he's saying. I think RC hit it. Their defense is terrible, but I don't think Hendrickson would make that big a deal with their defense one way or the they got a bad defensive team. So they are an offensive team. They have to score 40 a game. They got the two great receivers. He's a great quarterback. They seem like they're committed not to get off to these terrible September starts because he's played Burrow a lot in preseason. Last year, week 1, they lost to Brissett and the Patriots, if you remember correctly, in the first game of the year. So do I think that Cincinnati is a championship-level team? No, I don't, because of what RC says with their defense, but I do think they have a good chance to make the playoffs. They were 9-8 last year, and they had a chance in Week 18. They beat Pittsburgh, and everybody else won the next day. They got knocked out. They should be able to figure out a way to win 10 games, and 10 games will get them into the postseason, and then Burrow and Chase and, of course, Higgins would have a chance against anybody in a shootout type of game in a postseason spot.
Lewis, why are you shaking your head?
They're not figuring out a way to win 10 games, no. You know, because this ain't 2024. Think about the teams that have made some significant strides and improvements for 2025, okay? Think about that. The Raiders have made significant improvements. I trust the Raiders right now to find a way to sneak into the playoffs before I would trust the Bengals. Think about the Patriots. Think about the Patriots and what they have done, and not just the people that they brought into the organization in the locker room, the people on the coaching staff. They have an all-star coaching staff that will get that team to play far above and beyond what our expectations are right now. Look, Cincy, it isn't just a defensive issue with Cincy. You know this, too, since Joe's been there, right? Since Joe's been there, they've been in the bottom quarter in the league in pass block win rate every single year. And people go, well, he's been able to manage it. Look at the season he had last year. You're playing with fire with the way in which this guy has to be perfect every single week when he has turnstiles for an offensive line. And while everyone else in the AFC is gaining ground, his team is losing ground. He's keeping his. He kept his dudes. But as far as the supporting cast is concerned, every other football team's getting better. They just are. The West has gotten better. The East has gotten better. The AFC North, hey, let's just see what happens here with Pittsburgh, okay? You know defensively they're going to be better. And if Aaron is on it, like RC and Jalen Ramsey and people are saying how he's looked in training camp, hey, man. And we know Baltimore. We know what Baltimore brings. I think this football team, I really think this football team could be in trouble again. And you're right. You're right. Look, Trey Hendrickson does not make them a Super Bowl contender, does not make them a playoff contender by himself alone. There are far more foundational issues with this football team.
Stephen A.?
Well, let's directly answer the question here. Are they wasting Joe Burrow's prime? You're damn right they are. In 2021, when they went to the Super Bowl, they were a middle-of-the-road defense. They were like 17th in scoring, 18th in yards allowed. Let's look at them now. I mean, when you look at them now, they're putrid to say the least. They're like the 26th ranked scoring defense, 31st in total defense since 20. I mean, when you just look at them right now over the last 2 seasons, it's abysmal. And in the meantime, since 2021, these are the numbers on Joe Burrow. Completion percentage, number 1 in the league. Pass yards per game, number 1 in the league. Touchdown passes, 3rd behind Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Passer rating, 2nd only to Brock Purdy. And postseason wins with 5, tied for 3rd behind Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. That's it. This is what Joe Burrow has done. Yet they've missed the playoffs 2 of the last 2 years. Why? Because both were 9-8 records. Their defense ranked 26th in the league in scoring, 31st in total defense. Clearly, that is the issue with them. And when you know this, and still you've done close to nothing to improve the defense, to improve giving him just a chance to get this team over the hump, I think that's what's egregious. At the very least, think about what we're asking. He took you to a Super Bowl with a middle-of-the-road defense. Nobody's even asking you to be elite. Could you just be average? Could you be a little bit below average, like a 16th or a 17th or an 18th in the league, as opposed to 31st? They can't even do that. That's how bad it is. That's why you know the answer to this question is they are wasting away Joe Burrow's prime.
They're absolutely wasting him, but it's partly Joe Burrow's fault as well. Joe Burrow earned the right to say what he wants to have on this team, and he wanted both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Well, when you pay T. Higgins like a 1B, it's going to be difficult to go get players that can right now affect the way you play on defense. So what do they have to do? They have to go draft young players, which they did in this draft, that have to hit early. The reason the Philadelphia Eagles are a playoff team, are a Super Bowl champion now, is because the young players hit. Jalen Carter hit, right? We saw Cooper DeJean hit, Quinyon Mitchell hit. And so now a team that does have a 1A and a 1B receiver, that has a quarterback that they paid, that can go out and get Saquon Barkley and score points, can also get stops. Look at the top tier quarterbacks in the AFC, which we believe they have the top 4 in all of football. Patrick Mahomes is in a tier by himself. Don't put him on a tier with anybody else. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We're talking about all of those teams as championship contenders because of what the complete roster looks like. We're not talking about Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals like that. And you can make the argument that after Patrick Mahomes, he's actually the best one because he's the only one that's been the quarterback of a team that's beat him in the most important moment.
Right, but what we also have to be careful of is the fact that we can't just talk about Joe Burrow when we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's talk about Zach Taylor and his coaching staff. Over, the first 2 games of each season in his 6 years there, they're 1-11. They don't show up to play until mid-September and beyond. That's egregious. What the hell are you doing? That's why I call for an investigation into what the hell they're doing in the offseason, because clearly it ain't their job. They're never ready to play at the start of an NFL season. That might have something to do with their absence of success. We can't ignore that. And so when I'm looking at Joe Burrow making sure that you get your 2 receivers paid, and I get that part, RC, my whole point is this. These are the Bengals. And look at the bevy of errors that they've made over the years. There's no telling if they didn't pay T. Higgins what they were going to do with that money. They still might be having a problem with Hendrickson, along with anybody else. And we don't know what the hell they're doing, and that's the problem.
Finish the season with Arizona and Pittsburgh at home. Play at Miami. Open with the Browns. They remember, they didn't make the playoffs last year, so they got a little easier schedule. He's played people. Those receivers are wonderful. I think they can win 10 games.
If it were November and they had Miami and Cincinnati, that would be an automatic win because we know that Miami doesn't show up with 50 degrees or below weather.
That's true, too. I think the game is in Miami, but I think you're right. You may continue.